Hello, I'm Eliza Pearson, founder of RegenAG UK. We are at Cowdrey Estate in West Sussex with farmer Joel Salatin on International Permaculture Day. And we're just going to ask him a couple of questions. How does Polyface Farm grow local?
Well, our farm has, there are, I think, two ends to this question. One is sourcing local materials, and the other part is selling to the local clientele. And so over the years, probably one of our most exciting local stories was back when GMOs first came in. And we went to the mill that we'd been getting our grain from and asked them to differentiate GMO grain. Well, they laughed at me. Oh, there's no difference. We don't want to fool with that. So I went looking for somebody who would do this and found a Mennonite family in the community that had an old 1950s mothballed on-farm grain mill. And I said, would you guys do this GMO-free grain? Well, it turned out that I stumbled into a place of tension between son and father because the father, who had built the mill and was now 80 years old, demanded that the son keep the big mill, all the guttering and the painting and the shutters and the doors, working. And the son, of course, they weren't using it. He saw it as a white elephant. And so the son jumped at it. Oh, maybe we could make some money on that old, mothballed mill. And that was probably, 18 years ago. And today, that mill is state of the art, has gone through about 3 or 4 upgrades, can now store 20 tractor trailer loads, has their own soybean baking, roasting facility, and is the only completely GMO-free mill in a multiple state Mid-Atlantic region. That's a pretty cool effect to have on a local sourcing. We've started numerous farrowers that farrow pigs for us because we don't farrow pigs, and so we've been able to start half a dozen small farrowing operations that are reusing, Grandpa's old defunct pig facilities and farrowing for us, starting, new farms with young people that wouldn't have been able to do it before. So there's a lot of fun in kind of, spreading our expense dollars into really, truly local neighborhood businesses. Now, on the other end, we sell within a radius of 4 hours. So we've essentially taken a map and drawn a circle 4 hours away from the farm, and we don't sell beyond that. We find that that's extremely liberating because it means that if somebody calls us from outside that circle and wants product, that instead of me getting ulcers and trying to figure out how are we going to get a pallet of chicken or something to them, I don't even have to worry about it. I just say, there's a farmer near you, go patronize that farmer. And I find it very liberating to actually define a market area so that we can focus our attention on this area and not be pulled inordinately in difficult areas. And so how we access that is with a delivery scheme that uses our delivery driver. We service about 50 restaurants and about 5,000 families in that circle that we deliver to. We have an on-farm sales building as well, a farm shop where people can come out to the farm and shop. And so we have a diversified portfolio of sales, delivery, and farm shop that allows us to do that. The one thing that I'll really mention that I think is interesting, because it is such a problem in the local food system, is economical distribution and sales. And so often we're using things like farmers markets and box schemes or trying to get into supermarkets and using things that just are very cumbersome from a retail interface. So we're using electronic aggregation, collaborative electronic aggregation, essentially stealing software essentially stealing software from Amazon.com and then going to other, designing it for ourselves so that we can then use the electronic aggregation software to create a retail interface so that it doesn't require a cash register and bricks and mortar. And we think that offers a tremendous opportunity for creating economies of scale in local food distribution without the capitalization overhead that a typical structure actually creates. It's worked very well for us. We call these the metropolitan buying clubs, and they work very well.
Fantastic. And what positive impacts have you seen when communities, as a community, they grow local? And can you give any examples?
Well, when a community grows local and creates local economies, what happens is that a couple things happen. One is that dollars stay local and they turn around local. They don't leave the community. For example, a business like ours and the feed mill we patronize and the farmers we're buying our piggies from, all those dollars circulate in the community rather than being straight lined out of the community like so many farmers' sales. When a big box store, for example, comes into a community, most of that money exits the community. It doesn't recirculate in the community. Yeah, there are some employees, but in the main, that money goes to central headquarters and a central bank somewhere. So when we create a collaborative of local businesses, then that money moves around in the local economy. Great big farms often buy things by the tractor trailer load from distances, and their truck. They don't even buy them from a local hardware store or the local feed store or the local tractor supply dealer or whatever, and they're buying in bulk from a long distance. And so we are a significant portion of income for many local businesses. One of the biggest ones is the local little abattoir, the slaughterhouse that we use. And 4 years ago, we bought a 50% interest with a partner in that slaughterhouse. It was going out of business with a couple that had owned it for 50 years. They were in their 80s and decided, well, we're in our 80s, maybe we should slow down. There was no succession plan, and we were very concerned that we would lose that abattoir that we had used for 20 years. And so we got a partner and we bought it, and we saved that entire regional link between farmers that wanted to sell retail and being able to sell retail. Without that slaughterhouse, none of us would be able to access consumers or restaurants or any kind of real market. And we saved those 18 jobs that were in that business and saved that business. So that is a critical portion of the entire local community.
Wonderful. And can you share your vision of a grow local future?
Oh, my vision of a grow local future is way beyond just the normal, buy local. My vision of a grow local future is where we actually have individual local autonomy on food choice, i.e., where I can actually buy the food of my choice. If we have a system right now where it's fine to buy Twinkies and Cocoa Puffs and Mountain Dew, but raw milk, Aunt Matilda's homemade pickles, and compost-grown tomatoes are hazardous substances. And so one of the biggest impediments to local food progression or schemes are the food safety laws that don't scale down very well. They scale up very, very well.